Happy New Year and welcome to another edition of Whiteboard Monday. I'm Shannon Register with Register Real Estate Advisors in Spring, Texas, here with another edition of Whiteboard Monday for you. I hope that you are starting the new year in a really great way, and I want to tell you today that a lot of agents are starting the new year at new brokerages, and I want you to know what impact this has on you if you're working with an agent, because sometimes you might be trying to sell your house and all of a sudden your agent jumps to another brokerage and you may not know what impact that has on you. So I'm going to talk about that today. But first of all, I want to go over the different things that you're looking for as a seller. Buyers, it doesn't really doesn't matter so much. But what you're looking for as a seller in an agent, and then what the agent is looking for in the brokerage, so that you can see the difference. So the first thing I'm going to talk about as you as the seller. If you're selling your home and you have your home listed with an agent currently, these are usually the things that you are going to be looking for in your agent. Their service, their response time to you, and their availability to you. And it doesn't matter what brokerage they're with, those aren't going to change. Their fiduciary representation to you, they follow the same code of ethics no matter what brokerage they're with. Their brand name. That is one of the big things that consumers see as the difference between brokerages because of the advertising in the market. However, brand name is playing a smaller and smaller role for sellers because of the internet. It's kind of leveled the playing field, and nowadays anybody can have just as good of SEO as a big top brand name brokerage. So brand name still for a lot of consumers is a big deal, but for agents, we know it really doesn't matter much. Marketing power is important for you as a seller. You want your listing to be out there in magazines, you want it to be all over the internet, you want it to be highly publicized so that buyers can find it. You want your agent to have good negotiating skills, and you also want them to have the education and the experience that they need to be able to help you with your transaction. So these are the things that sellers are looking for in an agent, and those things really don't change depending on what brokerage they're with. The only thing that would change for you as the seller is the brand name, and usually if you talk to your agent, they can tell you what they see as the difference in the different brand names, and of course you have your own perspective as a consumer in the marketplace. So next I want to talk to you about brokerage and what an agent looks for in a brokerage. And the reason a lot of agents will change brokerages this time of year is because this is when they have the least amount of listings. And so it's easier for them to change right now than it is in the middle of the summer when they're super busy and have a lot of listings. So the thing that agents are looking for in a brokerage are the different models of business. Each brokerage has a different model for business. Some of them give their agents very little support, and some of them give their agents a lot of support. Some of them offer education, some of them don't. Some of them offer more marketing power, some don't. So when agents are looking at brokerages to work for, they're looking at these different models. Also, what falls under the models is the compensation package for their commission. And so you may have an agent who wants to be at 100% commission and doesn't need any support from the brokerage, or you may have an agent who, even though they've had years of experience as an agent, they don't want to go out and do their own marketing advertising. They want the brokerage to do that for them, and so they're willing to give up a little bit more of their compensation. So this is a very big, the compensation of income or commission is a huge factor that your agents are looking for when they choose a brokerage. And they're looking at these different business models because the different business models require the agent to turn in their paperwork differently. It also gives them a different comfort level depending on the atmosphere within the brokerage. The facility, location to their home, and how the office appears to them is also going to play a role in that. How many leads the brokerage offers them, or what leads are available to them, is another thing that agents are looking for in a brokerage. They're also looking for the type of advertising and promotion that the brokerage does for both the brokerage and for the agent. They're looking at the resources and training that the brokerage provides. That may be something that they want, whereas another agent may not care if the brokerage offers that. And then the support from either the broker or the manager. Some of the brokerages out there fall under a manager. They don't even have a broker in the building with their agents. And then you have other firms like REA where the broker is here with the agents all the time. So different models of brokerages are very different. And so every agent's a little different, and they have to pick the model that works for them. But this model that the agent is looking for is very different than what the seller is looking for in their agent. So just because your agent changes brokerages, it may or may not affect you in any way at all. You really need to talk to your agent about that, if it's going to affect you and how it will affect you. So when your agent changes brokerages, you are either going to be a seller, you're under contract with the agent, or you're a buyer. If you are a seller and you have a listing with an agent that's transferring brokerages, it depends on how that agent has structured their deal with their broker as to what the broker is going to allow them to do with that listing. So if the broker allows them, the agent, to take the listing with them to their new brokerage, then you, the seller, would need to sign a transfer of listing form, and that would transfer your current listing in MLS to your new brokerage with your same agent. The broker may decide that they are keeping the listing with the current brokerage, and the agent that's leaving will no longer be able to be your agent, and in that case, they would reassign a new agent to your listing. Or you could keep the same agent on your listing and keep it at the same brokerage. That happens sometimes, especially if the agent knows it's about to go under contract. It's a lot easier just to leave it at the same brokerage. So you really, as the seller, won't know what's going to happen until you talk to your agent and find out, because the listings are owned by the broker, not the agent. So it depends on what sort of compensation package or what sort of agreement the agent has with the broker as to what's going to happen with your listing when you're a seller. I will say, though, that most of the time, agents are able to transfer the listing to their new brokerage. Now, that's just very much a generalization for me to say, but that's what I see happening the majority of the time. But again, that's up to the broker. If you are currently under contract with your agent and they change brokerages, absolutely nothing changes. It will still close under the current broker. Your current agent will still complete the transaction, and nothing changes. So you have nothing to worry about if you're under contract with an agent and they change brokerages. If you're a buyer, it could really go either way. Your buyer may take you to the new broker, so that when you do put in when you do close the transaction, it closes under the new brokerage, or you may be under an agreement with the current broker, and so it has to close under the current broker. But either way, as a buyer, it's not going to impact you. There's absolutely no marketing that goes with buyers. It's really just your agent doing their fiduciary responsibility for you as the buyer and negotiating and doing the paperwork for you. So it really doesn't matter either way if you're a buyer and your agent changes brokerages. You may just want to ask them which agent's going to go on the contract when you write a contract. So this is just a little bit of information for you so that you know what questions to ask if you're going to be working with an agent who's changing brokerages. As always, you can call the broker of the company and talk to them directly to see what impact it's going to have with you. But I do encourage you to talk to your agent, because your agent is going to be able to explain this to you very well as well, because they know what their compensation agreement is or what their brokerage structure is, and they can explain that to you as well. But you always have the ability to call the broker of the company and discuss it with them as well, because after all, it's your home. This is another edition of Whiteboard Monday for you. I hope this helps answer some questions for you. And as always, if you have any questions for me, you can call me at 281-288-3500. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.